Hello learners, and welcome to today's lesson of the periodic table. So what you're going to be doing now is doing activities based on the periodic table. So let's begin. So this is what we mean by the periodic table, and we know that it is arranged in terms of groups and periods and also in increasing atomic numbers. Then let's dive down to the first question. So first question says, name at least 2 ways the periodic table is organized. So how is this periodic table organized? We know that, number 1, it is organized according to the periods, also groups. Remember that periods, they are going across from left to right, and then groups are going down, vertically down, from group 1 all the way to group 18, from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. And you might also want to say it is also arranged in increasing atomic number. Right? And then question 2 is asking you to identify any element from the carbon family and write down its number of protons. So we need to look at the carbon family and remind ourselves what they mean by a carbon family. Remember that the periodic table is arranged in terms of groups and periods, and groups are sometimes referred to as families because people in a family, they have similar characteristics, so as with the groups here. And we're saying that the groups are always named according to the first element of that particular group. So we're looking at the carbon family, so we look at where carbon is. So this is the carbon family going down here. So any element that they're looking for here, we can be choosing from that particular family. So it says identify any element from the carbon family and write down its number of protons. Let's not choose carbon. Let's probably choose Si. Si. And Si is your silicon. And then what do they want there? They want us to write down the number of protons. Remember that the number of protons is equals to the atomic number. So if the number of protons is equal to the atomic number, then the atomic number of silicon is 14. So that means silicon has 14 protons. So it is going to be 14 protons. Right? Let's move on to the next one. So the next one now wants us to be very, very attentive and look at the periodic table very carefully. So number 3 says identify an element found in group 2 and period 4. Groups, periods. Groups, vertical, periods, horizontal, from left to right. So now group 2, let's look at where we find group 2. So we have group 1 and we have group 2. So group 2 is all these elements here from the beryllium family. And then period 4, period it is going across. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the element in question that they're looking for is going to be calcium, because that's the only element that is found in group 2 and period 4. So therefore, that's going to be Ca, which is calcium. Then the second question from there is group 15 and period 3. Groups, periods, remember, groups, vertical, periods, across, which are horizontal. Then looking at group 15, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we are looking for an element somewhere in the nitrogen family, because the first element in this group is your nitrogen. So it's group 15 and period 3. We count 1, 2, 3. So when you go across, the element in question that they're looking for is this one here, which is P. It is P, and P, it is the chemical symbol for phosphorus. Right, then the last one here is asking us to identify an element that is found in group 17 and period 5. So group 17, we have stopped here at group 15. If you continue to the right, saying 16 and 17. So we're looking for an element somewhere here in the fluorine family, because the first element there in that group is fluorine. And you go to period 5. So if period 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, when you go across, the element that you find in group 17, period 5 is I, and I is iodine. That was easy enough. Let's move on and look at the second one. So number 4, we are now again need to be focusing and looking at our periodic table very attentively. So on which group and period do we find the following elements? So we are now given the elements. We need to identify the group and the period that we find these elements. So we're going backwards from that previous question. So chlorine. So chlorine, we know that chlorine is Cl. So we need to find where we need to identify where we find Cl. So we know that Cl is here, atomic number 17. So, and we know that it's in group 17 because of the labeling there, or we can also count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So it's in the fluorine family. And then in which period do we find fluorine? So our period there, it's 1, 2, and 3. So we know that Cl, chlorine is found in group 17 and period 3. Not too bad. Then the next one is boron. Where do we find boron? On which group and also on which period do we find boron? So we know that our chemical symbol for boron is B. So we need to look at B. We need to look at where we find B in the periodic table. So we see where B is. B is there. And remember, B is in between the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So therefore, it is a semi-metal or a metalloid. So B is there. It's in period 1, 2, and group 13. So when you count from here all the way to where we find our boron, it is group 13. So B, it is group 13. And period 2. That's where you find our element boron. Then you continue lithium. Lithium, it is Li. It has the chemical symbol Li, capital letter L and small letter I. Remember, the first letter is capitalized, and then the second letter is always small letter or a lowercase. Then lithium is there. That was easy to find. So lithium is there. It's found in group 1 in the hydrogen family and period number 2. When we count horizontally, it's period number 2. So that is group 1, period 2. And then moving on to the next one, a bit more complex, manganese. Manganese has a chemical symbol, capital letter M and small letter N, manganese. Not to be confused with magnesium. Those are two different elements. So manganese has a capital letter M and small letter N, whereas magnesium has capital letter M and small letter G. So those are two different elements. So where do we now find this in terms of the group and period? So Mn, we need to look for Mn in our periodic table. So Mn is there. Mn is a metal. Mn is there. So now on which group and period do we find this Mn? We are seeing that it's on group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So group, easy. It's group 7. And then period. Now we need to count across horizontally. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be found in period 4. And then the last one, arsenic. Arsenic. we are getting a bit more and more complex. So arsenic has a chemical symbol A, capital letter A, and small letter S. So that's what you need to look for in our periodic table. So AS, it is there, element number 33, also in between the metals and the non-metals, so therefore it's a metalloid or a semi-metal. So therefore, where do we then find it? We are finding our AS or our arsenic in group 15, as you can see from the periodic table, or you can count from the left-hand side all the way to where you find arsenic. And then it is going to be group 15, and then period, let's count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's also found in period 4. Same with our manganese. And as you can see, when you're moving across from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, the properties of these elements, they change. So our manganese Mn was a metal. In the very same period, we find arsenic, but then arsenic is a metalloid or a semi-metal. So as we can see, even though they are in the same period, they have different properties. If they were in the same group, they would have similar properties. Yeah, now that you've seen how to use a periodic table, let's just quickly take a short break and we'll come back and do some more activities on the periodic table. See you after this.